Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Well, I don't think it's any coincidence that they're here today. And what just happened less than, I don't know, 25 minutes ago, the energy, whatever's going on, and you may be watching this or hearing this after the fact, even months later, but there was an earthquake in the New York, New Jersey area. I'm
Yes, there
here.
was.
Things are start shaking there in Pennsylvania. You guys felt it. Why am I even bringing this up? Because psychic mediums over here and just weird stuff going on in the universe. Shannon Dee and cousin Jen. Cousin, right? I have that. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Join us. Welcome, ladies. How are you doing today?
Awesome.
Yeah, great. It's been a great week.
Well, it ends with a bang.
Yeah.
When it's shaking, and
You're
so
not
we
kidding.
got that going on. We're in a Mercury retrograde, which started on Monday, and we have
An eclipse.
the eclipse coming up on this Monday. I don't want to go deep into this, but do you feel that this all happens for a reason? Things are moving to shake things up, like COVID. Many people believe COVID happened to make change. Just it was an abrupt stop, and then the ripples came out. People changed their lives. We were forever changed because of that. And some say, well, sometimes those things have to happen. Your personal, not even doesn't have to be professional, but your personal feelings on all of that. What do you think, Shannon?
To me, I think the moon has an incredible pull on the Earth's gravity. And I know I always feel it when there's going to be a full moon, an eclipse, anything like that. I always feel it. My readings are always off the charts that week, which they have been this week, just crazy off the charts. And on top of it, I think that definitely plays a part of why there was an earthquake today. When retrograde happens, everything starts, like, crazy things happen. Things are upside down in people's lives. And if you know how to manage it, it's great. But I definitely think that with the eclipse and stuff coming, I think that had a huge effect as to why we felt an earthquake.
Yeah. I'm feeling the same. I even text from somebody I'm close to just text me, and I could detect in her initial text. I'm like, hey, good morning, how's it going? And just short one word answer. And like, everything okay? And then the reply was, I don't know. I just feel off today. I can't put my finger on it. I want to cry, but I'm not going to that. And I think that's all part of the planet alignment, the retrograde, all of what's going on. Jen, what do you think?
I think I'm very excited for the readings this week for those people. They're going to be outstanding.
Why do you think that happens? Why does all of this?
Well, the energy, for sure. If I feel like if people come in with good energy, they have the best readings. People that are closed off, it's so much harder. They don't get what they want to hear. So all the energy in the universe really helps.
Yeah. I think it has to do a lot with the electronic grids that run through the Earth. Certain places have more magnetic energy than others. And I think having this earthquake was a total bonus for me, because I think it really is going to shake things up for people. And I think
Wonder yesterday was outstanding readings.
Yeah. Yesterday was like just so, every reading was just so crazy.
Wow.
I had grown men crying. It was, seriously, it was that.
I get it.
So for me, it's like, great, release all that electrons into the air and let's play with them and harness them for our good to help other people.
Do you feel that it's all a good thing? Because when this stuff happens, it's making us look at life differently. It's just realigned, because I'm feeling it too. I've had a conversation with somebody this morning who I only met a couple of weeks ago. I'm in a group, and he there was some clarity on a couple of things that, I should make some changes, but I'm not. I'm just like kind of lean back on it, but I know I need to. We all know the answer. It's inside of us, but we want to ignore it. That's the gut, the intuition. Do you think it's a good thing to kind of shake things up for us?
I think so. I think that catalysts for change, no matter what they are, happen for reasons. And I think I always feel so bad when I see a natural disaster that has really negatively affected people. It truly affects me. But I end up getting through it because I realize how many other people realize their own mortality and how precious life is. And, if there's someone that you need to reconnect with or fix a broken connection, you might want to do it now because of those other people that just, didn't survive or survived the tsunami, the major earthquake, the tornado, the hurricane.
Mm.
I think sadly, and I don't want to make it sound like it had to happen to them, for our good, but we can't control that it happened. But is there some good out of it? Is more how I look at it. But when I see those things on TV, when I saw the first time I saw the Key Bridge video where it collapsed, I didn't know. My mom had just turned on the news. I started crying. I felt violently ill, like I was going to throw up. And that's usually how natural disasters affect me as an empath, is I immediately connect to their pain and their sorrow. And I have to dig myself out of that so that I can do readings. And so usually the way I do it is to realize that people who are watching it, they realize that and they make the change. They all knew the answer about what they have to do in their life. And sometimes it's the catalyst, which is sad, but good.
I know it sounds cheesy and we always say this, but we need to practice it. Do it with love and light. So many times, even a family member does something you don't agree with, and you just want to fire off and just like, really, come on. And just take a second and just say, and I can relate 100% to this, that lean back about it a day, maybe two, and just understand their position and just, tell them you love them and that's it. And then just let it go instead of just being nasty, because that's where we go.
Yep. And I think that's a lot about what's happening in the media. I think people want to speak out, speak up and things, and sometimes they don't realize how they come across to other people. So that's always great advice. Lean back for a day or so.
Yeah.
Take a beat. See if you feel the same way. Usually you don't.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I went to this. I'll laser this real quick. The person I referred to a moment ago in this group, I joined a men's group, and I never would have done that. I went on a retreat. One of the things, and it was the retreat's about relationships. That's really what it was about. One of the things was 48 hours. Give yourself 48 hours before you respond to something or react to those things, and keep your emotion in check, because sometimes it gets the best of us, and you need to maybe water it down with the 48 hours. So let's talk about when somebody is scheduled for a reading, anticipating it, how to prepare for it. How do they get ready for a reading?
Well, I don't know that you really have to do anything to get ready, but when you go in, everybody is a skeptic, of course. I've been to plenty of mediums. Whether you've been to one or not, you have to realize they're all different. Shannon operates differently than maybe another medium would. But you have to go in with an open mind. You can be a skeptical, but you can't go in closed off, because she really can't read people like that. There are people that cross their arms and they scowl at her and they challenge her. And I feel like no matter what she says, they don't want to believe it, or they just want to believe what they think will benefit them. They're very choosy about what they believe. And she always comes through and gives them something that will tell them that there's no way she could have known that. Whether it's a picture, maybe they don't find the picture for a year. That's okay, but eventually they'll find it. Or she'll say something like, my one girlfriend, you kept mentioning the library and books.
Yes, the library and books.
And my girl was like, no, I don't know what the library could be. And literally 2 weeks later calls me and goes, oh my gosh, I know what she meant. It wasn't necessarily a library. The last time I saw my loved one that passed, we were at breakfast with books at my son's school. And we were like, there it is. So Shannon sees things and she feels things, but she's not having a conversation. So that's what people don't get. You have to help her understand the symbols. So if she asks you a question, answer it. She don't have to give her a lot. She'll stop you and she will blow your mind after that, but don't be afraid to answer questions because it really brings the reading out.
Guilty as charged. We just met, and you immediately pulled my aunt through.
Before I met you, I was talking to Ashley,
who's one of our producers, sets things up. Nobody's ever done that. And I shared before we got on here, I'm connected to psychics. Been connected for a long time. Nobody's ever done that. And it was with clarity. So even though I may be friends with psychics, I'm still skeptical. And I don't know if you realize what I did. As you were describing things, you mentioned her house. I said to you, and I've shared this with other people, by the way, I've said, yeah, describe the house.
Yeah, you did. And I was like, I looked at Jen when you did it. If we were on Zoom, you would have seen it. I looked at Jen.
She almost told you how much blades of grass were on the front lawn.
I've never done that before, though. And I was like, yeah, all right. Yeah, Shannon, bring it on here. Yeah, you see things. Yeah. Let's go. And you described the Victorian house and the wraparound porch. Now, it's a 50-50 chance that, where it would be. But you said, yeah, no, it's definitely on the left-hand side. And it is. And then you said the house was white. And, skeptics can say, well, okay, whatever. Well, the house, when I grew up, it wasn't white.
Dark violet purple, like a mottled. It wasn't purple. It wasn't violet. It was like a dark mottled. It looked like it had purple in it because that's what I kept getting stuck on with the shutters. And I kept saying they're that purple color, but they're black.
They may have been.
Understand that.
They may have been. I have to think about that because I'll get to it. And I think I briefly shared this, but the house was like this darkish green. Not my favorite color, but that's, my aunt painted it that way. So in my mind, it's like, she's wrong. And then I'm thinking, well, she owns a building 2 doors down that I was very connected to that was white. And I was going to cut you slack there. And I was like, duh, the people that bought the house, because she obviously passed, painted it white. I mean, everything's white. Even the shutters. Wow. It's almost like
holy cow.
It's almost weird for me. I expect to see a dark house. Now everything is white. So you were right. It is white. And even just, we don't have to get into it, but even the porch, the steps, all of that, and she would sit on the porch and, look at everything. And so I'm a skeptic.
This is how difficult people can be. This was my favorite. The suitcase.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. This woman comes and she's like, all right, I'll believe in her if she mentions, I told my father I want him to mention this suitcase, blah, blah, blah. Shannon mentions a suitcase, describes every sticker on it, what it looks like, what color. The girl goes, no, you didn't mention Samsonite. And we're like, really? Because she didn't call it a Samsonite? Are you kidding me right now? So people can really be tough. Yeah. It's okay to be a skeptic, but be a little open.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I have suitcases. Not one of them's a Samsonite, and I call it a suitcase.
But she wanted her to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's kind of
and she knows who she is. Yeah, will not mention her name.
I ended up going and giving her a second reading, and everything was so spot on. She was crying, and I was like, "Oh, see, you gave me a chance, and now you see it a different way." And it's funny. I sometimes love, especially in a group reading, when I'm in a group reading and I have a skeptic, I love it.
Yeah, they're the best. Actually,
the energy of the rest of the group literally envelops them, that whether they're skeptic or not, I end up giving them, they end up having the most people come visit them.
Because we usually scream.
Yeah. We scream a lot. People are crazy in our group readings, but they usually get the best readings. And because their energy, you could literally see them opening up like a flower, opening a door, and it just floods in. And very rarely do I ever have them leave. They all leave and they're like, okay, I'm not a skeptic anymore. Especially in group readings,
I've heard that if you have somebody that's recently passed, you need to wait. You shouldn't do a reading right away. Does it even matter?
It's not always true. I have learned so much that there's a period of transition. So I've read people where they passed 2 weeks before. Other people, it's been 6 months and I know that they're there, but I can't quite get them. But it's like once I ping them and try to to get them, they always seem to come back. And so I always keep people's contact information, and we'll circle back and say, hey, I heard from so-and-so, and I give them a message, and they're always like, oh my gosh, that's absolutely right.
But that's another good point, because I've been to plenty of readings with Shannon, and usually right out of the gate, she knows how someone passed. But I've been to a few where she's struggling and she's like, she keeps asking, like, was it a gunshot or was it a hanging, whatever? And the people aren't answering her. So finally, if they answer, the floodgates open. And we realized 3 readings I've been to, she couldn't get it because the loved one that passed didn't know how they passed. It was so violent or so sudden. And even that, the person that passed goes, oh my gosh, now I know how I passed. And what comes out of that is crazy.
Wow.
Like somebody was murdered from behind. Someone was hit by a car and didn't realize they were dead. Like, so you have to, if she asks you a question, just simply answer it. Don't give too much, and you'll be surprised what comes through.
Yeah. But usually I know, it's very rare that I ask my dad to bring somebody and they don't come.
Yeah.
I can't really remember when they haven't come. I've always gotten something.
Yeah, you've never not. But they might not want to talk in a group setting in front of other people sometimes.
Yeah.
And they'll come back to you.
And that, if usually they won't say anything that they wouldn't say in mixed company. And so I usually will say to them, I have a feeling I'm going to hear from them. Most of the time I do end up hearing from them, but sometimes I don't realize that they had something to say that they didn't want to say in front of other people. And they're just as discreet as they would be in life. And then they'll send me a message, and then I send that to them. Especially if there's a broken connection and they're trying to fix it. A lot of times they'll come back. I know that I did one yesterday, and the father was not really that apologetic. I always can feel it. It feels like a heaviness. I feel pride. I feel whatever they're feeling. And I flat out told the 2 ladies that I was reading, not feeling it, but I felt a little at the end. Boy, did he come back last night. It was probably close to midnight. I must have sent her 6 or 7 texts, because whatever he said, I literally typed word for word. And I know I said, let me know if there's key phrases. I'm sure she's going to read it and come back. And I know that there are key things that he said that are just like him, exactly what he used to say. I get that more often. That's exactly what they said. That's exactly how they act. So, because I can act, I'll be doing whatever it is that they do. Like, if they slap their leg as I'm telling them the story, and they'll be like, that's exactly how he used to act. So I'll take on their mannerisms because I'm mimicking what I see.
Wow. Okay, that's cool and creepy at the same time.
It is.
I feel I have to say this, and I'm not asking for anything, but I feel I have to say it. Things happen for a reason. Today would have been my mom's birthday.
Oh.
And I was going to tell you, Rose says hello. When you first talked at the very beginning and you brought up Aunt B, right away, your mom and your aunt are standing right over here. And I was like, do I say something? Do I not say something? And so I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like,
hands.
What are the chances that we're talking on the day? Weird. I don't think that there's a reason.
That's not a coincidence.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You're going to get a sign from her today. You're going to get a rose, because she keeps handing me a pink colored rose. And so I have a feeling you're going to see it. But her and Aunt B are standing next to each other, and they're holding hands and they're looking at each other. And Aunt B just leaned over and gave your mom a kiss on the cheek when you mentioned your mom. So they were related?
Oh, yeah, sisters.
Okay. Well, that explains why they're holding hands. Usually when people are holding hands, it means there's some kind of close connection.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by when you get a message from somebody, but is it confidential? Let's say you're doing a reading for a bunch of people, and a message comes through from a dad, whatever, but he only wants one of them to know. Will he say, whoa, wait a minute, don't let that out for everybody. That's only for that person. How do you do it? Do you follow up later?
Yes.
Confidentially? Like how's that done?
Yeah, if there's something that comes out, the other week it came out about a miscarriage, and I said, I don't know. It was a mom and a daughter. I said, I don't know whether you want me to say this with your daughter sitting here or not. And she waived the confidentiality. No, I want to know. And when I came out with it, it was a surprise to the daughter, a little bit of a surprise to the mom too. And her mom played a part in it. And it was something, information the daughter didn't know. In other cases, if it's something that I really feel strongly, like I'll tell people if there's something that they want to say, I'll take in another room. But usually they always wait till later and then they reach out to me and then I send it to that person. And it's almost always with connections and things that they're embarrassed about how they acted and they really want to do a better apology than being macho the way that they were in life or hard-nosed the way they were in. And so often I end up having those people come back for a private reading and then everything comes out and it's just them. And so that all that confidentiality comes back. And it just seems that the universe makes it that way, that it always works out.
Has there ever been a time where something embarrassing, funny, strange, very personal came through? This is all confidential, but I don't know, whether an object, situation, anything like that.
I think we've had stuff in group readings, maybe not confidential, but
Just weird, just
funny,
like
weird, embarrassing things.
Like the family knows this, but nobody else did, and it came through in a reading that Uncle
Oh,
Jimmy, he wanted to be buried with his Playboy magazines. What
oh,
whatever.
I can't remember a time when something embarrassing about the ghost came out, but something that might embarrass the rest of the family or something that was like really odd comes out. Yesterday, I had a lady who I kept seeing a crown and I kept seeing it in black and white. And I kept saying, she kept saying, like, I'm not queen of the day, or I'm not queen for a day, I'm queen for the day, every day or something. And here I was like I kept seeing her walking around town with this crown tiara thing on. And here the daughter was laughing and she was like, no, she actually would go out wearing it. And you could tell they were like, oh geez. And I was like, oh, like I felt bad, like, oh, I'm bringing up this
Like
thing, but they ended up laughing.
on a
A real
regular
crown.
day, she would go out wearing a
Yes, she
tiara.
would. Yes, she would. And I ended up talking to Jen's dad last night, and I kept seeing things, the crown against black and white. I couldn't understand why. And after the reading, I went and talked to Jen's dad, and I said, why, like, why, like, what was that? However, it came out. He was like, yeah, there was a black and white show in the 50s, Queen for a Day. I Googled it, and darn it if it wasn't true. I sent that to that client right away. I was like, she was like, oh my gosh. I was like, now we know where your mom got it. But her mom
Wow.
was really into the monarchy. And so I think that was their excitement.
Yeah.
And so she ended up saying that the princess is going to stay in the castle. And I did not know what she was talking about. And here it ended up that it was about Princess Kate. She's had some kind of a health scare, and then there's rumors about her marriage. I had no idea. I've been a little busy.
You don't watch TV.
Yeah, it's a she revealed that she had cancer. Could be related to stomach in that area. They're not giving details, but the reason she came out and said that was because she disappeared from the public. And it's sad. People are like, what's going on? Well, leave her alone. But so she's being treated. But yeah, so that's it. That it's got to be final thought here. It's got to be challenging for you, Shannon, when you're getting the full-on information, but you don't know what it means. Like, what does this mean? And that's where, when you work with somebody, that they need to validate it so that you can go to the next step. The skeptics will say, I'm just giving. Where did my camera go? Hello, earthquake.
It's the earthquake's coming.
That's why you need to validate it. A skeptic is going to say, no, I'm not giving you any information, but that helps you disseminate the information and give more, because I see the queen for a day. I don't know what that means. And then you move on. That may be something that leads that's big, but
that reminds me of Liz's reading. I did a group reading for somebody that Jen knows, wonderful lady. And in the group reading, there were several people there that were skeptical in nature. And the one young lady, I don't want to reveal too much, but the one young lady, I said, you're not with the one who you're supposed to be with. It was her grandmother that came through. She already validated, blew her brother away by saying that it was turtles. And here the grandmother used to always make him turtles. And so she was kind of believing. So I could feel her energy opening. And I said, you're not with the one you're supposed to be with. I said, your grandmother's giving me, and then I popped out with the name. Everybody in the room had a different reaction. If there was one reading that I wish I had videotaped, it was this. There were people that were like, and then there's the excitement. And then the one lady was like it was like the worst thing in the world, but everybody else was like, so, and I finally was like, how come everybody knows what's going on but the medium? Somebody tell me what this is for. Everyone was having a reaction. And the more the grandmother gave me, the more I was getting crazy reactions. And a lot of times I'm saying stuff and I can see the awesome reactions no matter what it is.
But you have no idea what.
I don't know what it means.
The joke's on Shannon. Like you have no idea what it is. Do you think also that people you're reading may do that to you, just like, throw it to you, knowing that you don't know what it is, and now you got to find out what it is?
Oh yeah, they're definitely challenging her. Yeah.
But I always end up turning their minds in the end because their loved ones want to connect. They don't want to play games.
We're all skeptics about everything, not just readings, but if you're going to go for a reading, have a more open mind. I totally understand, and it can be frustrating for you. You just want to help and provide the information, but there's got to be a little bit of validation there, or else you can't do your job. And that's, then that's on the, what do you call the person you read? There's always, there's different names. Do you have a name? Does it matter?
For a long time, we've called them client participants. Sometimes we'll call them peeps, like C peeps for short. Online, I usually do that on our Facebook page. I call them C peeps for client participants because they are participating in the process.
Sure.
Usually.
Well, they should be. They should be.
Yeah. When I'm speaking to other people, I'll just, like me and Jen, we'll just say a client.
Right.
But online, I purposely call them participants because they're part of the process. Without them, there is no reading.
Gotcha.
They have to help.
Always great talking with you both, and I'm glad we finally did it on video. And there was no earthquake in this 30-minute segment, but who knows what's going to happen? Who knows? Retrograde and eclipses and all of that. How do we find you guys?
On Facebook and Instagram under Shannon Dee Sees Things, or call me at 215-680-7693, and I'll set you up with an appointment.
You have such a wonderful relationship, the two of you, and you can see it. You can see it and feel it, and it's kind of rare, that you guys work together and are connected like that, and it feels good, really does. Love talking with you both, and we'll catch up soon. Okay.
Sounds great. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Bye.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.